Hey there, Peckway, Scattered Church. I want to greet you all properly. Hope you're doing well. Miss you. Oh, so good to see you. Looking good. I was asked to share some things that God has been teaching me through this time of quarantine and time of self-isolation. And I have been learning a lot. I'm learning that my husband is a social butterfly. I always thought I was a social butterfly and liked to be around other people, but I'm finding that John is. So John really misses worshiping with you all on a Sunday morning and especially getting a hug from Uncle Dean. I'm also learning that my 4-year-old Jace is busy and some days it's hard for me to keep up. Also, online teaching is difficult. That's something else that I'm continuing to learn as I process through each day. So those of you that are students, parents, homeschooling now, and other fellow teachers, hang in there because we're almost to the finish line. But seriously, I have been learning a lot from God. And before we dive into his word, I'd like to pray. Dear Lord, I thank you that although we are a scattered church, I thank you that we are united in you. I thank you that we can openly study your word and that you give us wisdom, understanding, and that you continue to love us and provide for us each and every day. I pray for those in our church. Please continue to protect them, sustain them, and I just long for the day where we can reunite again and worship with you. Thank you for being a sovereign God and for loving us. In your name we pray. Amen. My DNA group has continued to meet via Zoom, and we have been studying the book of Daniel. We started the book of Daniel back when social distancing was first put into place, and through these last couple of weeks, God has been teaching me and impacting me. So I'd like to share with you a couple of those big highlights that I've been taking away from the book of Daniel. The first thing that I've been learning is that God can continue to work and continue to move and shape us and mold us, even in times of isolation when we feel alone. Daniel was taken from his homeland, probably between the ages of 12 and 17, taken from his homeland, put into the king's palace to work for the king, to get to know the language. Everything was stripped from him. His identity, even down to his name. He was given the name Belshazzar, which was a pagan god's name. So his complete identity was taken from him and he was put in isolation. But the thing that I've learned through the book of Daniel is that he continued to remain obedient and faithful in his walk with the Lord. He did not stagger even when he was isolated and alone. He wasn't alone because God was with him. So from the book of Daniel, I'd like to read chapter 1, verse 17. To these 4 young men, talking about Daniel and also the names that they were given, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. God gave knowledge and understanding of all kinds of literature and learning, and Daniel could understand visions and dreams of all kinds. So even though he was isolated, God continued to give him a special gift of interpreting dreams, which he just provided for him. He continued to provide for him. Even though he felt like he was alone, he knew that he wasn't because God was with him. So during this time where I'm sure we all feel alone in a sense, we can't see our family, we can't be surrounded by our church family on a Sunday morning, we can't see our friends at school, we can't see our students, our coworkers, we do feel isolated. I know I do. So just having that faith and knowing that God can continue to use you and use those gifts that he's blessed you with, we can take courage and confidence in that. God also continued to provide for Daniel by giving him wisdom to interpret the king's dreams and different visions that he had. He also protected him and sustained him in the lion's den. So when we trust in God for his sovereign plan, he will sustain us and he will see us through. I believe that, and that's something that I've been learning as I've been reading through the book of Daniel. Something else that God has been teaching me is consistent through Daniel is that our prayer life should be solid before trials arise. Daniel was steadfast in his walk with the Lord. He prayed daily, numerous times throughout the day. And even when the king's officials tried to trap him into, not trap him, but persuaded the king to make a law that whoever prayed to God would be thrown into the pit of the lion's den, Daniel did not stagger. He didn't become afraid. He continued to walk with God and to pray and to seek him out. So during this time, hopefully your prayer life has continued, but maybe even grown and blossomed and become deeper as you talk to the Lord each day. From chapter 6, verse 10. Now, when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, so this is referring to the decree that the king proclaimed that anyone that prayed to God would be thrown into the lion's den. Once Daniel found out that that was decreed, he went home to his upstairs room where the windows opened toward Jerusalem. 3 times a day, he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before. So that shows me that he was consistent. He did not give up. He didn't lose hope. He continued to pray, which he had been doing through his entire life. So during this time, it's easy for us to grow lazy, to become relaxed because we're not surrounded each Sunday or weekly with our DNA groups. And I just encourage you to stay with it, to continue to reach out to God, to pray, to spend that quiet time of communion with him, because he can bless you through those moments, give you wisdom, and continue to mold and shape you into the disciple that he wants you to be. Another thing that God has been teaching me through the book of Daniel is that God's plan is sovereign and for our good, although we may not always understand it. From the book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 27, after God reveals the meaning of a vision to Daniel, this is how that chapter ends. I, Daniel, was exhausted and lay ill for several days. Then I got up and went about the king's business. I was appalled by the vision. It was beyond understanding. So that just relates to me today in that I don't understand everything that's going on. I can't comprehend everything that's going on. I want to know when it's all going to come to an end. I want to know when life can kind of get back to normal. But right now, that's beyond my understanding. God has not revealed that plan to us just yet. So continuing to trust in him that his plan for us is good. And if we are obedient and faithful to him, then we will see his final works proclaimed and his plan revealed. We can't always see the big picture, but God sees it. It's having the faith to walk out in obedience and trusting him for that plan to be revealed. I also like in that verse where it says that he got up and he went about the king's business. That's kind of my little cheerleader to say, even though you might not understand this right now, Julie, God's given you these gifts. Go use them. Go about your business of being a teacher. It's not easy right now, but do what I've called you to do. So I hope that you take courage in that God's given you a gift. And even though we might not understand the whole plan right now, he sees it. He's unfolding it before our very eyes. We just need to trust in him and to do what he's called us to do each and every day. During this time, it's really easy to become negative self-talk and just to become down. So something that our family has been doing for the last many weeks, it feels like, is to become more attuned with the blessings that God gives us each and every day. So at the end of the day, when we do bedtime routine and we do devotions and pray with Jace, we each go around and we share a blessing that God has given us that day. They're all unique. Each day is different. God blesses us each in so many ways, and we just need to be aware of those blessings and notice those blessings. So if you feel like that would be something helpful for you and your family, I challenge you to just look for God's blessings, those little nuggets of encouragement that He gives you each and every day. I picked up this book out of our bookshelf. I think it was given to me actually from Peckway, maybe during a Mother's Day or something. I can't remember. But I really liked these couple of words or lines that came out of a devotional in here. At times, we all have too many obligations, too much stress, and not enough strength. I'm sure some of you are feeling that way right now. In order to survive these pitfalls, we must place our trust in God, the one who never goes tired or weary. He has strength readily available for us, and He knows where to direct our steps. We can't carry this on our own. God can. So it's my hope and my prayer that you are leaning into Him for the strength that you need to get through each and every day. I hope that as we walk through this, that He is teaching you things. I know it'll be individual for each and every one of us, but I hope that something from the message this morning that I shared can resonate with you and in your heart, and that you'll just remember that God is sovereign over all, that He's got this all worked out. He knows down to the day of when this whole COVID-19 will be swept away, and we will be able to worship again together in His church. I would like to leave you with a song. It's a song that I've been singing as a prayer. It's a familiar song. I know we've sang it together at Peckway. It's Sovereign Over Us. And just some of those words really resonate, and I use them as a prayer throughout the day when I need that strength and that extra push, when I do feel isolated and alone. You are working in our waiting. Beyond our understanding, You're teaching us to trust. Your plans are still to prosper. You have not forgotten us. You're with us in the fire and the flood. You're faithful forever, perfect in love. You are sovereign over us. I'm going to leave you with that song today, Peckway, and I can't wait to see you all again soon.